Warm welcome, sir, to this show. Today we have a guest. If I remember him as a cricket aficionado from the 1990s, then I would recall him for that dogged and determined innings against India in the Ahmedabad Test in 1999, 78 of 173 balls, I guess. And if I remember him as a fan from modern times, then I would look at him for steering New Zealand to 4 ICC finals, trophy finals, and also that epochal series win in India. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. So to start with, as I noted, it was a fruitful journey for you as a New Zealand coach. New Zealand reached the finals of 4 ICC trophies. Again, World Test Championship final they won, and that epochal series win, defining series win in India, and also a Test series win against England in 2021. So how do you look back at your journey as the coach of the New Zealand team over the last 6 or 7 years?
Look, it's been an amazing part of my life, and I've been very fortunate and privileged, I think, to have that role as head coach. They're a great bunch of people to work with, and are always trying to, I think, improve and get better. And I think when you're in that sort of situation as a coach, it's always easier to work with people who are like-minded and want to see that improvement. But as you said, we've had an amazing journey. We have played some really good cricket in that period of time, and we're fortunate enough to get over the line in that World Test Championship final. So, very, very, very happy with it overall.
Okay. So you touched upon World Test Championship final. Let us transport ourselves back to that one tournament. I remember New Zealand prepared really well. They played a Test series against England, won that Test series. Also, I remember them preparing with the Duke's ball ahead of that particular final. So any memories or any anecdotes from that World Test Championship final, perhaps a reader or someone like me wouldn't really know, if you can.
Oh, okay. Well, you're right. We were fortunate to have a very good series against England beforehand, and we actually took a big squad of about 20 players over there because some players we thought we would probably give a break to. We didn't want them playing 3 tests in sort of 3 weeks, so we gave a number of players a rest in the second test at Edgbaston and managed to still win that, which was fantastic. The World Test Championship itself, it was obviously COVID times, and I think England and UK was just coming out of COVID at that time, so it wasn't really the amount of fans that you would normally expect in a ground, but there was certainly still a big Indian contingent that was there to view their team. But it was a game that I remember that went right down to the last day. Both teams could have won it then, I think, as well, and we had to chase around about 140, and it was nerve-wracking. I know that. I mean, India are a quality side with Ashwin and Jadeja to I guess spin in the last innings as well. It was certainly very, very nerve-wracking, but to finally get over the line, I think, was a huge relief for our New Zealand team, and something we've been close to on a number of occasions but couldn't quite do it. So yeah, I think relief was the first, I guess, emotion that everyone felt.
Okay, any memories to share, maybe even after New Zealand won that World Test Championship final, or something that a reader wouldn't exactly remember or know, if you remember?
Yeah, well, at the time it was at Southampton at the GS Bowl, and both teams were staying at the hotel at the end. We were very fortunate. There was a very big team room that we had, and I think guys were sitting up there for most of the night celebrating, and it was just a really special time, I think, for the team. Of course, it was a 6-day test as well, and 2 of the days were washed out, so it created the game to move pretty fast. And I also remember Kyle Jamieson had an outstanding game as well. I think his figures 7 for 70 something off about 40 overs was absolutely incredible, and it was probably the difference in the game, I think.
Yes. Okay. Let's go back to the defining series win in India. If I'm not mistaken, New Zealand before that lost a test series in Sri Lanka and then went over to India. So what really happened in those 1 or 2 months, or it just like it went with the flow that suddenly New Zealand lost the toss, played in Bengaluru, maybe on a little bit of a damp pitch, and took wickets, and from there it just rolled on. So can you just say about that defining 3-0 series win?
Yeah, look, amazing series for us, but I think the catalyst for us doing well was the 2 games in Sri Lanka. We had decided on a game plan that we wanted to play from a batting point of view in particular, and try and, I guess, not sit there and wait to be got out, but try and put more pressure on the bowlers. And we had a couple of times in that Sri Lankan series where we should have actually pushed forward and taken the game a bit more, but we didn't do that. But we believed in the way that we were playing. That first test at Bangalore, I think it was fortunate that we lost the toss and bowled so beautifully in that first session and put India on the back foot. And I think if you'd asked most New Zealand players before going there, you'd say, if you win one test, that's a really good series. But then to, I think, play the way we did after that and play in a really positive manner and see India under some pressure was great. And I thought our spinners were outstanding, both Patel and Satner and Glenn Phillips, who supported them as well, did an amazing job to put India under pressure. And I think it does show that all teams are capable of beating each other around the world, and I think that's really important for Test cricket.
Okay. You talked about that Bengaluru test. In that particular test, Sarfaraz Khan, there was a point of time when I remember Sarfaraz Khan and Rishabh Pant were going hammer and tongs at the New Zealand team, and there's a rain break here. So, and then suddenly New Zealand came back, picked their wickets, and ran through the lower order. So, was there any motivational chat or something on those lines during that particular rain break, or just like we'll go on with the flow, or something on those lines?
No, I think what happens in that situation, it gives you the chance to regroup and rethink about what you're doing and the way you're playing. And sometimes it's worse for the batsmen because they lose the momentum that they have at their time. And you're right, Sarfaraz and Rishabh were playing beautifully and putting us under some real pressure. So we from memory, I think we had the seamers that came back and chipped out a wicket just before the new ball, and then we sort of went through the back end of India with the second new ball to make the target not too big. So the thing was the pitch was starting to crack more and more though, and was difficult. And we always knew with the likes of Bumrah and Siraj that they were going to be a real handful at the start of the innings. But fortunately, we got through that without too much trouble and managed to just keep chipping away at the runs. Okay.
You talked about Mitchell Santner in brief. Can you say a little more about his spell in Pune? Because he was a capable, known as a capable left-arm spinner, but he was mostly remembered for his exploits in limited overs cricket. And then came that particular spell in Pune, and also I remember against England, he took a lot of wickets in the final test of that series. So, what really changed for Mitchell Santner?
I'm not sure anything changed. I mean, they were conditioned
or self-belief or on those lines.
Yeah, I think what happens when you get on a pitch like that, sometimes it puts more pressure on the spinners, even though it's really conducive to spin as well. But Mitchell's great strength is his accuracy, and he shows that through the one-day game and where he's so good for us. But all we asked him was to just try and dry up an end, and I guess we knew if we did that we thought the wicket would do enough that he would bowl some fantastic balls, and he managed to do that. I think he picked up 17 for the match and had a slight side strain as well throughout that match, which I think makes it even more meritorious the way that he did play. So look, it's by far his compelling test match that he's played in, that game at Pune there, and he bowled beautifully. He bowled us to victory.
A little bit on Will Eng as well, because he showed very good defense, scored a lot of runs in that series. If you want to say a few words on him.
Yeah, well, Will Young may not have played in that Test series if Kane Williamson wasn't there injured.
Yes.
So I think it's fantastic. Will's he's been in and around our squad for the last few years now, and not always got opportunities. But when he has, he's come in and made the most of them. Look, he played really well throughout that series. He trusted his defence and sort of, I thought, played at a really nice tempo to put enough pressure back on the bowlers, but also, I guess, value his wicket. And that can be very, very tough to do, I think, in conditions where the ball could pop or could spin sharply and put you under real pressure. But I thought the temperament, the mindset that he had around that was very, very strong. Okay.
This is not one of the easiest questions to ask for me, because a lot has been talked about the 2019 World Cup finals, so I'm not going to delve deep into it. But just as a coach sitting on the sidelines, how was it? Because see, you can't go and play out there. You can just sit there as a coach and watch all the ebbs and flows of that particular match. So can you describe a little bit about that?
Yeah, to be honest, it was a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. There was highs and lows, and I think you had everything you want in a game of cricket there, with punches and counter punches being thrown by both teams. So, I mean, it was hard. It was hard, the result to not go our way when you score the same amount of runs, I guess. But look, it's hard to be bitter around it when both teams played such a great game of cricket as well. So I sort of say to people, for me, all the emotions that you live in that day, the ups and downs of it, if you live a life that has everything like that, then it'll be a pretty full life, and it's nice to be as part of that experience. I guess just disappointed that we came out on the wrong side of it.
A couple more questions on a couple of players who really emerged during your time. One is Matt Henry, because as soon as he took the new ball in Test cricket, even in ODI cricket, he's been at a different level. He's used a lot of bubble ball in the recent times. So if you can say a few words on him and Rachin Ravindra as well, who came into the setup in a practice game against Pakistan just before the 2023 World Cup, scored some runs. Suddenly he became a top order batter and he's flying. So can you say a little bit about this too?
Yeah, Matt Henry was probably in a tough position for a large part of his career, sitting behind Bolt and Southey and Wagner, and I guess he's had limited opportunity until the last 3 or 4 years. But since he's done that, we always knew what a great bowler was. He's accurate. He's at the bowlers. He keeps the stumps in play, and he puts batsmen under pressure. And I think he's grown in his abilities, and I think he's become a better white ball bowler as well. He's really the cog for our seam bowling attack now, and leads that with a few youngsters around him who are obviously very promising as well. So delighted for Matt. Had a lot to do with him when I was coaching at Canterbury as well. So just delighted that he's been given that opportunity and done well. Rachin's way into the team was a little bit different, and I think originally we were looking at him to bowl some overs for us and perhaps bat 6 or 7. But and as you said, in the warm-up games, he had 2 fantastic innings versus one was versus South Africa and Pakistan. Yeah, and he scored runs in both of them. And with Kane Williamson not being quite ready because he had a broken thumb at the time, in that game, we decided to give Rachin the opportunity at the top of the order. And I guess what him and Devon Conway did in that opening game versus England showed their class and made for some very, very tough conversations around selection and what it looked like for us going forward in the tournament. So it wasn't an original plan to have Rachin at the top, but I think we always believed he would end up there, but thought it may be a year or so down the track a little bit further. So look, I love the way that Rachin plays. I think he's composed. He has the ability to put all attacks under pressure as well. And he's gone from strength to strength with us. I think in the recent Champions Trophy as well, he played beautifully in some innings there and got some big runs for us. So he's going to be a really important part of this New Zealand side for the next 10 years or so.
Yeah, just a couple of questions on the Indian team as well, because you've seen them recently. Obviously, they're going to play Test series, big 5-match Test series against England. What do you think about the retirements of especially Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli? Ashwin also has retired. Because you saw them from close quarters in that Test series against New Zealand. Were you feeling that they were coming to the end of their illustrious careers, or you felt that maybe they have a couple more years in them, or on those lines?
Yeah, look, I think when you get to that stage of a player, and I've been there myself at some stage, you know deep inside that your time's probably up, and they will have their reasons for that. But there's no doubting the impact that they've had on Indian cricket and the Indian cricket team for a long period of time. Look, their experiences, you can't replace that. But I know with India, the one thing you can do is there is an enormous amount of highly skilled players that will step into their void, I guess, and go out there and do well for India. So I think it's a hugely exciting series that's coming up. I think England are obviously a quality side as well, and yeah, it'll be great to be able to watch them play.
So how would you look at India on a rebuilding phase? Some of them you would have seen again from close quarters, like someone like Shubman Gill is now the captain of the Test side. So how do you look at them under Shubman Gill going forward?
I think there's a huge amount of respect for Shubman Gill and the way that he plays the game. He's obviously a quality player, and you put the likes of Jaiswal around him, then it's very exciting. I think the IPL's obviously unearthed a number of stars over the last 15 years, but I think it's as strong as it's ever been right now, and the players that are coming through will want to cement their spots in the team and will want to go out there and do their very best for India. So I know what a proud cricketing country India is, and I'm sure having Jasprit Bumrah back as well will be. I'm sure he will be influential in this Test series.
And what about the England Test team? Because they recently played against New Zealand. That's why I'm asking. Bryden Carr seemed to have come through in that particular series. There was Jacob Bethel as well. They were trying to get him in, and he scored some runs. So how do you look at the England team? It seems to be an emerging side with some players, newer players coming through.
Yeah, they're reasonably settled with the odd new person, as you say. So the likes of a Bethel, a Cass, I guess, add a little bit of new blood into that side as well. But the crux, the nucleus of their team has remained pretty strong, and right throughout Brendan McCullum's era with the team. And I know Brendan well, and I'm sure that he will be giving them trust to go out there and play their style of play. And I think the way England play, and it's obviously a very attacking brand of pressure, and it puts you under pressure. But I think that element of surprise isn't there so much now. So if India have done their planning well, then I'm sure it's going to be a cracker of a series.
Just one final question. There are a lot of T20 leagues going around. Somewhere it has kind of affected the New Zealand cricket as well, because some of them are not taking central contracts. They're becoming freelancers. So how do you see this going forward in the future? Because yes, they're still playing. Some of them are still playing for New Zealand, like someone like Kane Williamson still plays for New Zealand whenever New Zealand have a test series or on those lines. But how do you look at it going forward?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think it's an interesting time for world cricket at the moment, and there is a lot of chat around how we try and find windows where international cricket isn't touched so much, but that's becoming increasingly challenging with the number of franchise leagues that are all around the world now, and players have more options. That's the reality of it, that they have more choice. They have the option to go down that T20 route as well. Personally, I'm a purist. I love Test cricket. I would absolutely love to see somehow where Test cricket is valued as much as T20 cricket is, and whether that's financially rewarding the players better. I'm not sure exactly what the answer is, but I think the T20 leagues are somewhat of a threat to cricket on the whole, and hopefully we can, everyone can get around a table and work out a calendar where players are available to play in both Test cricket and franchise cricket.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for taking your time out.
My pleasure.
We as Indian fans, will still remember your target 78 or 173 in that Ahmedabad test, something like 423 or something like that. New Zealand was chasing, and you guys played out the last day for the loss of just 2 wickets. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for taking your time.
No problems. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.